Welcome back, guys. New YouTube show. Today, I want to talk to you about Juventus because there's a lot to say about the Bianconeri. Many things have happened over the last week, starting with the win against Monza, which was positive for the table, of course, especially because Bologna and Lazio didn't win, but was very much negative because of what happened during and after that. And it's the red card to Kenan Yildiz, who is going to miss the next two games against Bologna and Lazio, the direct Juventus opponents, at least the closest Juventus direct opponents in the race for the top four. And even if Yildiz apologized, of course, it's somebody that Juventus director didn't um, like too much. He was defended the player by Tudor, by his teammates as well, especially Federico Gatti. Of course, everyone says that Yildiz is not a bad guy, and he's really not. I mean, he's always proved his quality and goodwill on the pitch, and what he did with that elbowing to Alessandro Bianco was really something new for us, which we hadn't really witnessed before from Yildiz. But this suggests that uh, he's not entirely. I mean, the environment at Juventus is not entirely calm and serene. Otherwise, this is not something that you do when you're up 2-0 against a team that is practically relegated. There is absolutely no reason to do that, and especially with two big games coming, because the games against Bologna and Lazio are really important for Juventus because they really need to qualify for the Champions League, the Bianconeri. So the consequences for Yildiz were a two-game ban, a 10,000 euro fine from the Serie A sports judge, and very likely will get a fine by Juventus as well because he broke the internal rules, and this is not really something that you can do, leaving your team in a difficult situation. But at the same time, I repeat, Tudor didn't blame the player after the game. Gatti did the same. He said, I know Yildiz and his family personally, so this is not something that he usually does. And I think he's very young, so he's going to learn from this. And I quite share the views from Tudor and Gatti, and I think they explain and suggest that Juventus want to stick with Kenan Yildiz for the future as well. He's a player who was not so central in Thiago Motta's project, especially in the last months of Motta's tenure, especially in the last weeks, I would say. But with Tudor, probably he's been the best Juventus player in the last 5 games. Um, Regardless of the red card, he scored 2 goals, and I think he played in a better position for him. More, I mean, closer to the goal, not too wide on the wings, not many defensive duties. Um, I think he played in a better position for him, somewhere that suits him more rather than left winger, where he have to cover long portions, big portions of the pitch, and follow the opponents. He's more focused on his attacking duties under Tudor, and I think his performances have been really, really good. This red card is a shame, of course, but again, it suggests that maybe there is something that is not quite working at Juventus behind the scenes. And one further hint came from Douglas Luiz. Over the last few days, I want to share with you his what he said on social media. He basically complained about the lack of playing time, and he said that some of his injuries were suspicious, which it's I find it quite strange. I mean, it's not. There's I don't think there's a conspiracy in the Juventus technical staff to get Douglas Luiz injured. We're talking about a player who's missed 20 games this season, and he was probably the best Premier League player, Premier League midfielder last season. 10 goals and 10 assists for Aston Villa. So his frustration is understandable, but what is not so understandable, I think, I mean, these things that he tried to say that he doesn't really want to say. It's really confusing in his communication, at least here, and at least when he says um, in here, these injuries were not normal. I've been never injury prone, and but there are many reasons that could cause this, which I'd rather not comment on. Um, he has suspicions, and which are not like based on something on something real. I would say, because of course, especially when you invest 50 million, a little bit less for Juventus because Barrenechea and Link Jr. were in the deal. But when you have this sort of investments, no club want the investment to go well. No club want the player to do badly. So, of course, injuries affected his season, which is something that he acknowledges as well. He complained because he'd never played two consecutive matches. Another thing, this has a lot to do with Tudor. It's mostly about Motta because, of course, the relationship they had at the start of the season wasn't ideal, and Motta didn't see him as a starter. Douglas Luiz went from 10 goals and 10 assists in the Premier League to 0 goals, 0 assists in barely 800 minutes across all competitions with Juventus, missing 20 games. So it was a nightmare for everybody. It was a nightmare for the player. It was a nightmare for Juventus. Well, there are rumors as well on the fact that he split up with a girlfriend as well, Alicia Lehmann, who is at Juventus. But this, of course, makes the situation worse on a personal level because it's never a good situation when something like this happens. So it was really a very bad season, a very bad year for Douglas Luiz. But the fact that he came out so loudly and in public about the issues that he found at Juventus again suggests that probably they have to fix something behind the scenes, and probably suggests that Cristiano Giuntoli alone is no I don't want to say, not able to manage the situation because he's a very capable executive and he's a very experienced executive, but perhaps he needs some support as well because when Juventus had a golden era, they had very strong directors and very uh, very effective executives. They had Andrea Agnelli as a president, they had Marotta as their CEO, Paratici as a sporting director, Nedved was appointed as a vice president, and now they don't have this sort of leadership. These strong figures, which don't only have managerial abilities, but also have a sort of aura for the football players. In the past, it was Pavel Nedved. Now, perhaps Giorgio Chiellini could go over one of these roles and be somebody who supports Cristiano Giuntoli and stays closer to the team. And maybe when there's a difficult situation, the players don't feel like, okay, this season is gone, it's going pretty bad, so we can say or do whatever we want because we won't have consequences. If there's a strong club and there are strong people who take decision, then the player will feel much more commitment and would be more reluctant to do silly things on the pitch or on social media to put the team in a difficult situation and themselves in a difficult situation as well. So I think the perspective at Juventus for Yildiz and Douglas Luiz is very different because they want to keep um, Yildiz. There have been reports about Juventus, about Chelsea, Liverpool, Arsenal interest from these clubs, but I don't think Juventus want to sell him. Then, of course, if they receive a huge offer, things may change. But on paper, Juventus are not willing to sit down to discuss Yildiz's future. It's different from Douglas Luiz because he's been disappointing on the field, off the pitch as well, sometimes from what I've heard. So they would be willing to discuss. There have been reports about Nottingham Forest, for example, and he's a player who can surely leave. And the perception that Juventus have about these two players, again, it's very different. At the same time, Juventus also need a different organization because what these players have proved in recent weeks and what they've done on the field and off the field proves that Juventus need a stronger management that makes the players more aware of their responsibilities and uh, leave them in a secure path, I would say, and makes them more aware of their responsibilities that they have for their teammates and for the fans as well. So probably this will be the first step that Juventus have to make looking towards the new season. A stronger management with somebody um, partnering and supporting uh, the director Cristiano Giuntoli and the coach, whether it's Igor Tudor or somebody else, because this latest incident proved that Juventus really need to change something and need to add something to their current management, because what they have currently surely is not enough. Let me know if you like this content, and comment in the comment section what do you think Juventus should do with Yildiz, with Douglas Luiz, with the future as well, if you see responsibilities, and if you think that the Bianconeri will actually finish in the top 4 in Serie A this season. I'll be dropping more videos, so if you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and we'll be talking very, very soon.